So, do any of you guys want to be invincible, immune to injury, or never get hurt? Well, I can't do that, but I can show you the closest way to it in preventing injury in your everyday life. All of us, whether it's working out, going to work, or playing sports, we all do activities that we're susceptible to injury. By learning these things, you'll live a safer and healthier life. Growing up, I played a lot of sports, and I knew how important it was to be cautious about injury because no matter how major or minor an injury was, it was a setback. Also, I work at UPS. They preach safety there because they know you can't do your job if you're injured. So first I'll be talking about what you can do before, during, and after your exercise or activity. Then I'll talk about how important the equipment you use during your activity is. And lastly, I'll talk about what you can do for your body outside of your activity to prevent injury. So one of the most important things is before, during, and after, because most injuries happen during your activity. What you want to be doing is stretching. Stretching increases flexibility, which will help you be less prone to injury. Stretching promotes recovery time in your muscles, which will help you prevent overuse injuries. And quote from Casey Bradley on DIYactive.com that was published on April 27, 2015. She said, stretching increases the blood flow, range of motion, and overall performance, which makes you less susceptible to injury. You want to know your body's limits. If you feel something's wrong, like if you're running and your hamstring starts to tighten up, you want to stop there. You don't want to go no pain, no gain mentality, because it'll just make the injury worse and the setback more worse. You want to make sure you're confident in what you're doing. Don't try something you've never done before if you're not confident. That's an easy way to get injured. And if you feel like something's not right and you're working for someone or you're playing for your coach, you want to let them know because they will understand. You want to strengthen the muscles you often use in your activities. You want to practice the methods that you use in your activity. If you strengthen the muscles, you can work for longer, and if you can work for longer, it prevents overuse injury. Equipment is also very important because you use that equipment during your activities, and that's where you can get injured. For example, like tennis shoes versus basketball shoes. When I ever played basketball in these tennis shoes, they're great for running in, but when it comes to the things you have to do in basketball, like jumping up for a rebound or making quick cuts, they're not made for that. A lot of companies advertise what you should be using their equipment for in the commercial, like tennis shoes will have people running and cleats will have people playing football or soccer. You want to make sure the equipment feels correctly. Equipment that doesn't feel correct or doesn't fit correctly will do more harm than good, and it just basically defeats the purpose of the equipment. Also, you want to make adjustments to your environment with your equipment. If it's cold out, you want to make sure you wear layers because you don't want to get hypothermia, or when your body's cold and your bones are chilled, it's easier to get hurt. If it's hot out, you don't want to be wearing a lot of layers because you're more susceptible to heat illness or exhaustion. And you want to make adjustments to your environment, like if it's rainy or icy, you want to make sure you're ready for the terrain. Lastly, what you do outside of your activity to help your body is also very important because it directly correlates with how your body will react during your activity. You want to be hydrated. Staying hydrated is the number one way to prevent heat illness or exhaustion. Also, if you're not hydrated and you're doing your activity for a long time, you can get cramps, and that can lead to injury. And also, if you're not playing well, if you're hydrated, you play at 100%, and if you're playing a contact sport, not at 100%, it's very easy to get injured. And article on WebMD.com by WebMD. The article is named "Workout Injuries, Prevention and Treatment." They tell you to cross-train your muscles and not use the same muscles over and over again, because that's the main way to get overuse injuries. So today I told you what you can do before, during, and after your activities, how important the equipment is when you're using it in your activity, and what you can do outside your activity to your body to prevent injury. It should be beneficial to all of us because we all participate in physical activities in our life. We can't be immune to injury, but this is the closest way to it.
Nice. Good job.